I'm joined by Peter-Paul de Goeij, the director of the Netherlands Online Gambling Association, an independent consultant. Good morning, Peter-Paul. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm fine. How are you?
Fantastic. I wanted to ask you a couple questions about where we are here in the lottery business these days. Um, how are things going, and what is your role these days in the lottery biz?
I used to work for a lottery company based out of London called Lottovate. That's basically my induction into the lottery industry, and that was back in 2013. And before that, I worked in the telecommunications industry, something completely different. So at Lottovate, I was responsible for a business development into North America. So that's also my introduction into the North American lottery market, and that's how I got in touch with the friends and colleagues from the States and from Canada. And in the Netherlands, I was responsible for setting up and getting a license for a charity lottery in the Netherlands called Raffle. It was the first new lottery in the Netherlands for at least 30 years. And after I decided to leave Lottovate, that was February 2019, I set up my own consulting business called Quo Bonum. And I consult lotteries, governments, and stakeholders on matters relating to lottery, but wider also to online gambling. And one of my main customers at the moment is the Netherlands Online Gambling Association. I am their director and spokesperson at the moment, and that is my current involvement in the lottery and gambling industry.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for sharing that with us. What's the new normal for the European lottery market?
Yeah, so the effects of COVID-19, of course, have been very, very deep and high, and I would say that it has changed the lottery industry in Europe for good. I don't think that we will be going back to the days that were so the days, let's say, to end of February this year. One of the effects of COVID-19 is that you see that online lottery has really been given a kick and has really jumped in many European states. Also, what you need to know is that not all European lottery is available online or was available online to recently. The COVID-19 crisis expedited those lotteries in coming online and becoming more effective and more successful online. So you see the percentage of online sales going up dramatically at the beginning of March. The best example is the National Lottery in the UK. They have really shown some extreme growing numbers over the last 3 months.
And for our U.S. audience or North American audience, describe a little bit about the European market, because you have sports wagering, live sports wagering there. How has that been effective for the lotteries?
So traditionally, the lotteries offer a form of sports betting. Not all European lotteries do, but most of them do. The country where I'm from, the Netherlands, we've got a product which is offered by the Dutch state lottery. It's called Toto, and it basically is a sports betting product. They have been offering that for, well, at least 40 years, at least 40 years. And so basically, you can bet on the outcome of football matches and win money with that. This has always been legal, and the government has always been offering these products to consumers. Until recently in a monopoly. Currently there's still a monopoly, but the market is slowly but surely opening up, and as per the 1st of January next year, people can apply for a license to offer these services. but there really is a tradition, I would say, in European countries of lotteries offering the sports betting products. And this is, of course, very different from North America, more specifically the United States, where these products have been banned. And new innovative products came into being, like the fantasy sports, and in Europe you don't really typically see these products. They're in some countries they have they have some customers, but in most European countries DFS is not a thing really. And I think it's due to the different history of the North American market and the European markets. Yeah.
How has the sales for sports lotteries in Europe been affected without live events?
All right. So the effects of COVID-19 were well beyond devastating, because there was no sports to bet on. I think the only country that allowed football matches to continue, because football is basically the majority of sports betting. Then you also have tennis and some other sports. But the only country where sports were continuing was Sweden. So I think you could put a bet out on some Swedish football matches, but that was it. So basically, European sports betting came to a grinding halt. So big companies like Unibet or Bet365 or Paddy Power Betfair, they had no sports betting on offer for at least 3 months. So these companies were seriously affected by COVID-19.
Also, I'm curious about this topic of esports, either animated sports with a random number generator or arena type sports. Is that something that you see as replacing live sports in Europe?
I don't think it will. I think sports betting in Europe has become, especially in the UK, has become really a culturally rooted thing. People are not only cheering for their favorite football club, but they're also betting on it. It's really part of I would say popular culture in Europe. And you see also in Europe that virtual sports or esports has taken a really slow start. And even the COVID-19 crisis did not push people to esports. Only a few countries showed some increased interest from consumers into esports. I think there's only one exception where a form of esports, if you will, was really successful, and that was in the UK, where they decided to have the Grand National, which is the horse racing, virtually, and I saw that they raised an enormous amount with that, and that amount was for the health workers, so it was for a good cause. But that's really an exception to the rule, I would say.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Peter-Paul. It was great talking to you, and thanks for your insights.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me, and all the best.